Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap-up, the WNW 167 for Friday, November 21st, 2014. Amnesty, amnesty everywhere. You know, just a few years ago, the president said, well, I'm not emperor, and this is almost a direct quote, I'm not emperor, and I can't, just legalize millions of people without Congress helping. Of course, he could have made this move back in August, but nope, the Democrats, stepped in and said, whoa, this could blow our election chances. Well, their election chances were blown. It was pretty much a Republican landslide, and now Obama and the Democrats, who say they have his back, are going to legalize 4 or 5 million illegal immigrants with a stroke of a pen. Now, Obama and also Bill Clinton, they both say, oh, I have the legal grounds, I'm on good legal standing, even though the president said a few years ago he could not act without Congress. He was not emperor. So I guess you might as well start calling him Emperor Obama, who's going to, by a stroke of his pen, going to change immigration law and legalize millions of illegal immigrants. I have a lot of questions. What do you say to African-American youth who have, 25 to 35, depending where the cutoff is, unemployment rate? In Chicago, some youth up there, depending on the cutoff, 90% unemployment rate, no jobs. And you're going to legalize millions of illegal immigrants in an already tight job market with nearly 93 million people no longer looking for work? I don't know how you sell that. It wasn't a good idea before the election in November, and I guess it's turned into a good idea now. You know what I think? I think the policies of the Democrats are so bad, and they do not want to change them. They're so bad they have to import an underclass, a group of people who no matter what happens here, it's way better than where they came from in Mexico and South America and Central America. No matter what, they're just importing a class of voters who will put up with their terrible policies. But most Americans, just like on Obamacare, I think it's something like 57%, don't like it, don't want it. And when the president and the Democrats said, oh, the president's going to come out and explain his immigration policy, his unconstitutional, some say, immigration policy. Explain it? Really? You're going to explain your policy? Really, like you explained Obamacare? You're going to explain the enormous lies and fraud. Now we know they're huge, the biggest policy fraud ever perpetrated on the American people. It was foisted on American people. I know Jonathan Gruber was one of the architects, and thank goodness he came out and spoke so candidly about how they were tortured on the language and needed to make it opaque, and that was their friend, and they needed to lie and deceive to get it passed. But listen, I know a lot of people are focusing on Gruber, who says, oh, the American voter is stupid. That's a sideshow. Listen, focus on this being a fraud. This wasn't oh, we didn't see that. Oh, we didn't understand the unintended consequences of this or that. No, they got together, the Democratic Party, all the way to the president. I mean, what does he have, 18 or 19 times to the White House? The president was personally involved in this law, along with, Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. The leadership of the Democratic Party got counsel on how to lie. That came from MIT economics professor Jonathan Gruber. Yes, they were counseled on how to lie. He didn't do it. He told them how to do it, and they said, great, that's a great idea. That's how we can lie to get this thing passed. So I don't trust anything the president says now. When he explains his policy on this or explains his policy on that, like this illegal immigration thing, I don't believe a word he says. I'm sure I'm not alone. He's talking, explaining something, I just consider it one big fat lie. I mean, how many lies did they tell with the Obamacare thing? And we don't even know what it fully is yet. We still have the employer mandate that hasn't fully kicked in. We have all these hundreds and hundreds of exemptions. We don't even know what Obamacare is, but we do know one thing. It was a huge, concocted policy fraud, and it was foisted on the American people. And now when the president talks about immigration, I'm sorry, folks, I don't believe a word he says. I just don't. Next up, something I wanted to bring up because this is a big deal, and you probably think, oh, he's going to talk about Ferguson. No, I'm going to talk about Israel, the Middle East, and this synagogue that was attacked by a couple of Palestinians wielding guns and meat cleavers, hacked up and shot, killed 5 people, including some rabbis. Boy, you talk about something that's going to inflame a already inflamed area. This is it. It's inflamed. And this is, an ongoing series of attacks by, I guess, frustrated Palestinians who are running over Israelis at bus stops and stabbing them with screwdrivers. And now this deal where the perpetrators were killed, their homes are being demolished or have been demolished. But this is going to make things worse in the Middle East. This is at its core a fight. They say it's over a holy site that both the Jews and Muslims revere, but really at its core, this is a fight over land and who has the right to be on it, and who should be on it, and how they settle that land dispute. And I don't think it's going to be settled peacefully. And this dispute, this violence in the Middle East is growing. It's not getting less and less by the week. It's getting more and more, and this is something that could pull the whole world into war in the Middle East ultimately. And that's what Gerald Celente said on This Week, is that, the economy is spiraling down, and ultimately they take you to war. Now, where that war starts, well, Israel or some part of this conflict with Israel and the Middle East could definitely be a flashpoint for wider war, and that's what you ought to look at now. And I want to say that what happens in Israel over this murdering of rabbis and other people there, it's going to make Ferguson look like a party. But we all know that, when the Justice Department a few weeks ago said that, they weren't going to pursue civil rights charges against Officer Wilson for the shooting death of Michael Brown, we know that was a big tip-off. Here was another tip-off. This is the St. Louis Post-Dispatch on Tuesday. State of emergency. The governor called a state of emergency, brought in National Guard troops. This is all the way back Tuesday. And so you pretty much knew there weren't going to be any charges, at least by the grand jury, on Officer Wilson on this shooting death. The local people here, the local press covered this way better than the national. This is a big story here. I mean, this has been a front-page story here for weeks and weeks. There's evidence, for example, there's lots of blood evidence inside Wilson's patrol car. The blood came from Michael Brown. Also, there have been, people on the internet raising money for Officer Wilson in case he was prosecuted or in the future is prosecuted. I mean, one site raised, $100 grand? I mean, there are surely tens of thousands of dollars of people raising money in defense of Wilson. And no matter what, you could say about Ferguson, Missouri, and I want to go back to Israel, Israel is by far a bigger tender point than Ferguson, Missouri. The only good thing going on, which may, subdue the protest over the next, days and weeks, is it's cold here. I mean, record low temperatures. It got down to single digits, and we're still in the middle of fall, right? I mean, the first day of winter is the 20th of December, and we're talking single digits here. That's cold. I already had snow for early snowfall. I think they had a record here in the Midwest, here in Missouri. Record, earliest snow date, ever. It's really something that is quite unusual with the weather here. But maybe the weather will be a friend. It'll be cold enough to at least tamp down some of the violence coming in the next days and weeks that may end up coming. And finally, I'm coming to you from a farm in Missouri. And, beautiful out here. The folks here in the Midwest, all the way up, I want to tell you, up until the border of Missouri, even out into Kansas, they had a great year for crops. You would not know that there is any kind of drought out west because here it is virtually non-existent. There is no drought here in Missouri. As a matter of fact, they had so much water that it damaged some of the crops come harvest time. They had too much water. But out in California, particularly California, the entire state is in some level of drought. And I estimate about 3/4 of the state is in the highest level of drought. Now, a lot of you folks think, oh, California, Hollywood, movie making, Spielberg. Yeah, but California is a huge agricultural state. They don't not only feed the country, they feed the world. And they're having all kinds of trying to recycle wastewater, lakes at record lows or near record lows. The water table is shrinking. Lots of problems in California because of very extreme, severe, top level, worst level of droughts. And that's something that will affect the quantity of food, the quality of food, and the price of food. I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for watching USA Watchdog and supporting USA Watchdog with your comments and donations. That helps us out. That's the way I see it. I'm Greg Hunter. Fear not.